AFC South division. I am going to go with the Houston Texans. This
My
was your
boys.
team. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Houston Texans obviously last year was not the team that we all thought that they would be. Year two of CJ Stroud was not the year that we thought it would be. Tank Dell hurt, Stephon Diggs out early, Nico Collins out early. It just didn't go well, and they don't have a lot of cap room. I know today, or if you're hearing this yesterday, Nico Collins adjusted his contract a little bit, about $9 million to fix it. Now they're only at 18. So with this in mind, you have to look at
Yeah.
bargain hunting here. So these guys aren't the marquee guys. They're not Nick Bolton. They're not the T. Higgins or whatever. They're the guys that I think will make an impact right away. And they're in a Super Bowl win now mode. That's what they're being aggressive for a reason. Rookie quarterback, rookie contract, trying to capitalize on that. So as I get started here, first and foremost, they need to address the offensive line. Last year, CJ Stroud was under pressure every time he like stepped back. The offensive line was absolute shit. And shit's being very generous. It's a very bad offensive line. So first I'm gonna start off with them signing veteran center Ryan Kelly for the Colts. Obviously his entire career. If you want to start building that center, last year you had Patterson there who wasn't really great, wasn't really even average. He was just below average center. I think you put him next to Shaq Mason and Tyus Howard, you start to solidify that middle. And Ryan Kelly, I'm not sure what his number is. I don't think it's gonna be high. He's 32 years old. And I'll just pair him with my next guy. Tackle Morgan Moses was on the
Yep.
Jets last year. Right tackle was an issue for them last year. Tyus Howard played there, but then he moved to left guard last year. So I think if you get these two guys, I think Ryan Kelly and Morgan Moses, it'll make you at least be an average offensive line, which would be a dream of theirs because they've been a very bad offensive line for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I got something for you here. In the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 38% of dropbacks, the fifth highest pressure rate that he's faced ever in his NFL career, led to his worst performance ever. 38% in the Super Bowl, right? He was
Yeah.
pressured a lot. CJ Stroud, on average, was pressured 39% of the time.
Yep.
And so, on average, CJ Stroud faced a worse pass rush than Mahomes faced in that Super Bowl. That should
Yeah.
put in perspective what this guy was trying to overcome all year long.
Yeah, and when you don't have a lot of cap space and you don't have a high draft pick, you have to go for these guys who've proven that they can do it, or either because of injury or age, they're available. And these two guys, you'll be because of age. But I think
Yep.
these two guys put these on this offensive line. You start building a very decent to maybe even above average offensive line.
Raise the floor. Love to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And then the next guy here is I'm curious to see what he gets on the market. He's a good
Right.
wideout, and they might not bring Stephon Diggs back and take Dell's out next year. So this is a nice guy to kind of have a plan B on. I don't think you want to put too much pressure on John Mechie because he's never proven to be a good player. So wide receiver Christian Kirk here, manning the slot, he can play inside now, but he's very good as a slot wideout. I think he'd be a nice third option, maybe for this team here. And it's a low risk. He has a lot of injuries, but last year was a collarbone, so you're not really worried about the residual effect of a collarbone injury. So you think he still has a little bit of juice left? He's only 28 years old. I think this is a solid fit, right?
Yeah, I like Christian Kirk here. It's unfortunate what they've had to go through looking to build this wide receiver room because they've been aggressive. Like it's
Yeah.
not for lack of trying that they haven't been able to build this room. I am a little bit hesitant bringing in another injury prone guy. I hate that term, but someone who's been injured lately. But yeah, Christian Kirk's still young. I know a lot of people like him around the league. I think they're gonna have to pay a little bit for him, but I think if he's right, he's worth every penny. He could be that security blanket, that easy completion, and maybe most importantly, that quick release against pressure against blitzes
Yeah.
for CJ Stroud. Yeah, I like Christian Kirk.
And then my next move here is
Oh,
their splash play.
oh
They've
yeah,
been very aggressive and very committed to getting more than one weapon for quarterback CJ Stroud. Last year, so signed Stephon Diggs when no one saw that coming. Even though they had a Tank Dell coming off a good rookie season, even though they had a Dalton Schultz coming off a career year, they still signed Stephon Diggs. I think this year they're still aggressive, and the Jets have been a weird team about players staying and Garrett Wilson has been very vocal about if Rodgers leaves and he might go and all this stuff. I think the Jets go out here, or the Texans go out here and trade for wide receiver Garrett Wilson, tie him up. Garrett Wilson will be the guy that Tank Dell was supposed to be the Robin to Nico Collins Batman. I think these two
Yeah.
together, you get in there, sign long term, the cap will work. Where lower your cap number. I think you Texans trade for Garrett Wilson, you have Nico Collins and Garrett Wilson. That quickly becomes one of the best wideout tandems in the league with a young quarterback. That's just a slam dunk move if it were to happen.
Yeah, Diggs, Collins, and Dell was really good and exciting, but Kirk, Wilson, and Collins is something to really be excited about. I think you nailed it. Garrett Wilson is everything that you hope Tank Dell could eventually grow into. I think he's already that guy with a lot of meat left on the bone. He's had to deal with a lot of quarterback situations. I think it was impressive last year that Devontae Adams joined the team. I think still with a lot of gas left in the tank with his boy Aaron Rodgers, and Garrett Wilson still seemed like the better receiver. Yeah. And so, I think Garrett Wilson, if they can land him here, shame on you, New York, but good for you, Houston, bringing someone like Garrett Wilson to town. I love if they can put this room together. Goodness gracious. That's something to work with for sure.
Yeah, and they've been aggressive here trying to get more offensive weapons. They're not content with one offensive weapon. So I think this is a logical move that would cost them a lot of draft pick, but I don't think a young Garrett Wilson, I don't think you get him in the building and put him next to New Collins, you see it for one game, you'll realize it's worth it. It's worth the price, that you would pay. And then in the draft here at 22 overall, obviously I'm going offensive line. Offensive line, Calvin Banks, a versatile offensive lineman, which is what you want because you're trying to just put the best 5 out there, right?
Yep.
So if Howard doesn't work at guard, I mean, Moses just is too old. You put Howard out of right tackle. You put Banks at left guard. You see how that works. Or Banks can even play tackle, even right tackle. The only offensive lineman that should be solidified on this offensive line is a Tunzel. And last year he had a bad year. So I think Calvin Banks here out of Texas, put him on this team and just make it work. Get the 5 best available linemen out there for CJ Stroud. And I think if they do these 5 moves, they're right back in the thick of it with the AFC big dog. I mean, they were there this year. They almost beat the Chiefs. They were tied. They were down by 1 in the fourth quarter this year. In that playoff game. So I think sign Kelly, sign Moses, bring Kirkin on a 1-year deal, go trade for Garrett Wilson, draft Calvin Banks. This team's looking like the thing that we thought they were going to be last year.
Yeah. Interesting this quote from new offensive coordinator Nick Cali. Of course, Ben Slowick moving on. He says basically he learned under Bill Belichick. So it's going to be an offense that is going to really cater to their weapons. He's saying if we need to win, we need to run the ball 45 times to win a game. That's what we're going to do. He also speaks about putting a lot of the offense into CJ Stroud's hands. And so I think it's going to be a nice, refreshing look for the Texans. I think it got a little stale pretty quickly with Slowick, and I think if they make these moves along with this new kind of philosophy offensively, I'm excited to see what that can do because people probably still don't realize this defense was really good last year.
Yeah,
and only getting better. And so, I think with these moves, they could be really, really formidable.